going to be a great day. I am Nikki G, your host, and welcome to the Lone Doctrine, the food for thought exploration station, and your place in making today better than yesterday. This month, we've been talking about how to keep your mind on the right track. We set out, especially in the new year, with new goals, new enthusiasm, so excited, ready to make big changes. But then our mind starts to say, well, I tried. I really don't have time. I gave it a go and nothing happened, so why bother? I am too busy. Excuses, excuses, excuses. I heard someone say the other day, the mind is messy, paper is clean. I had never heard that before, so as sometimes outspoken as I am, I became that weird stranger that asked, what do you mean by that? It actually led to a very interesting conversation, and in a nutshell, he told me that one of the main things that help him with his mental well-being is keeping a journal. I'm sure you've heard of this method. I've even mentioned this method on this podcast, but it's one of those methods that a lot of people have a difficult time starting and continuing. He went on to say that he actually had a hard time starting and sticking with journaling as well, but he started with one sentence journaling, just one sentence a day, without rules, without bounds, and slowly one sentence became 2, 3, 4, and sometimes ended up to be drawings. The reason I wanted to share this conversation with you is because even just going back to that phrase, the mind is messy, paper is clean, is so true. Sometimes I know my mind gets so out of control that you can make a movie out of all the crazy scenarios that run through my head. I've found that sometimes when I wrote them out, it was the clarity I needed to see how far-fetched, crazy, messy, or ridiculous my mind was, and how I could step back and address the situation in a more constructive manner. Have you ever had your mind just spiral out of control with anxiety, all the different ways this or that could happen, or shoulda, coulda, woulda? So, again, keeping on the topic of keeping our mind on the right track, what are some ways we can do just that? Well, 1 is journaling. 2 is mental stimulation. Things like reading, puzzles, taking new classes or exercise courses help keep the mind healthy and able. Our minds aren't meant to be stagnant, and there are so many resources out in the world today that can stimulate our mind towards betterment, not the mind-numbing things such as TV, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Mental stimulation is one of the most underrated benefits of living your best life. Here's another one: caring for your emotions. When we're anxious, depressed, sleep-deprived, exhausted, our brain function becomes very low. There's actually scientific proof. These words such as mental illness, depression, anxiety have become such a taboo, especially in the US, but it's your body giving you signals. It's not taboo. And you'd be surprised how many people, if not all of us, deal with some sort of mental challenge of many, many different types. Caring for your emotions is recognizing the signs and taking action. Your well-being, you are most definitely worth it, and you're not alone. Here's another one: exercise. Now, I'm not a professional health advisor, but we all know that exercise routines that work well with our body type and biological makeup is essential. I believe exercise is the root of where life begins to offer you more energy, more clarity, more happiness, and more and more. Did you know that using your muscles actually helps your mind? It provides blood flow and the most optimum oxygen levels that increases the blood vessels that are responsible for thought. There's your nerd fact of the day. Exercise has a long life of benefits, and it's to your benefit to find what works for you. And the last one for today is your diet. Again, I'm not a professional healthcare provider, doctor, person, but good eating habits also play into how we function overall, mind and body. Again, it's up to your benefit to find what works for you. Now, you might be thinking, I've heard all this before. In fact, I've been tuning into the Lone Doctrine and you've said it over and over. What's the commonality? Repetition is key. And what I see the most is those seeking change, hearing things, but not doing these things. There is a big difference from hearing and doing. You may have heard the quote, stop wishing, start doing. You may have done or are doing all the above. I'm not here to accuse anyone of anything. What I can say is that there's always something that can be done, can be changed, adjusted, because life is ever-changing and not black and white. I get it. Sometimes it's hard to start new things and sometimes even harder to stick with it. So we want to eat better, have a better diet, a better eating lifestyle. We can take it upon ourselves to create the steps in making that happen. It's a new start. We are going to start eating right. We get home, the day has been long, and then somehow we end up on the couch with a bag of chips and the easiest to grab and eat items in the cupboard. Back to square one. But wait. What if we took the steps to make sure we had meal prepped, a healthy option waiting for our arrival? Blue Apron is a fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service that helps chefs of all levels cook incredible and healthy meals at home. They take care of the menu planning, the shopping, so all you have to do is cook and enjoy. The Lone Doctrine is sponsored in part by Blue Apron, and as a listener, you can get $30 off your first order. Just visit the resource section at lonedoctrine.com. So, what are the steps you are going to take to keep your mind on the right track? Will you take action? I'll leave you with this quote by Jim Rohn. Every life form seems to strive to its maximum except human beings. How tall will a tree grow? As tall as it possibly can. Human beings, on the other hand, have been given the dignity of choice. You can choose to be all, or you can choose to be less. Why not stretch up to the fullest measure of the challenge and see what all you can do? And keep fighting the good fight.
It's a great day when you're hanging